Honestly, the only reason why my bed is made is because I have to make this video. My mother will appreciate all of you. Hello, my little filmer dudes. My name is Ivan Montero, and thank you for joining me on my journey to watch everything, every movie. Not really, but we are gonna get close. A little tuft of hair. I've woken up like an hour ago, but it still wants to just do its own thing. 2023 was a big year for my hair, not for my hair. No, 2023 was a big year for me for movies because I am typically a TV guy. I am a TV guy. However, I wanted to, I don't know, venture out into the movie realm and watch more movies. And yes, I did see a lot more movies, and I thought I did really well. For me, I've seen 47 2023 movies. And honestly, for me, that's a lot because again, typically I don't watch a lot of movies. If it's not a superhero movie or animated movie or just a fun, just whatever movie, for me, growing up, movies were more of an event type of thing. So my dad, my sister, and I, we would go watch animated movies, superhero movies, or random little comedies. However, now as an adult, I like to for me, last year was a big stepping stone in movie going because I was not comfortable going to the movies alone, and now I'm all for it. If you haven't gone to the movies alone, do it. I know there's some weird anxiety behind it or some weird negative stigma, but there's nothing wrong with it. The movie theater is your own little sanctuary. It's so fun to go to the movie theaters alone or with other people. I went to go see Mean Girls the other day with other people, and it was so much fun. Point is, go to the movie theaters alone. You won't regret it. I certainly did not regret it because I ended up seeing, once again, 47 movies in the year 2023. Of course, not all of them in the movie theaters, but I digress. I think if I'm using that term correctly. However, we're only gonna go over the top 10 movies in my opinion. My opinion may not be the same as yours. That's okay. But these are the movies that I like, so this is actually gonna give you a little bit of an insight on what my taste actually is. What my taste is for movies. Starting with our honorable mentions, we have, and I know you guys are gonna hate me for this in this order and for this rating, however, I have in the order in which I liked it, Nimona at 8.5, Oppenheimer at also 8.5, Dumb Money at 9, Joyride at 9, Pixar's Elemental at 9, No Hard Feelings at 9, and Bottoms at 9. As you can tell, it's a lot of comedies. I am a comedy dude. I love comedies. We have in number 10, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. I wish I would have gotten to see this movie in the movie theaters. I was trying to go see this with a couple of people and none of the plans could align, so everything kind of fell through, and then I got busy and then everybody got busy. So from that point on, that's when I decided I'm just gonna go see movies by myself. But I did see this movie twice or 3 times, I think, on streaming. Once with my dad, once on a date, and I think once on my own. And it is hilarious every single time. And it's emotional every single time. This type of movie is basically my type of movie, and I really wish that it would have done well because I could have seen at least a trilogy out of this cast for this franchise. But, you know, 'tis what 'tis. But I do give it a 9 because it is deserving of that. It is so funny, super funny. The cast, stacked. In number 9, we have The Boys in the Boat. This one was part of the AMC Unseen, and I'm really glad that I got to see this one. I actually really enjoyed this movie. The pacing is a little fast. However, I think when you boil down the movie to its basics, to its basic message, I think the movie is structured to invoke those emotional feels, but the fact that it's about rowing. It's about the sport of rowing in the boat. And they made that sport just insanely interesting, and it has that nostalgia feel of early 2000 biopics that were really well done. This is that same feel, but filmed really well. The performances from the cast is stellar. There's one character who just, oh my goodness. In number 9, we have The Creator. At first, I wasn't sure what I felt about this movie, and when I saw it, I thought it was just fine, because I think I had my expectations too high. But then when I actually started doing some research and I started mulling it over, and I saw it again with my father, and the movie got me both times at the very end. If a movie can make me cry, you better believe that is most likely on this list in some capacity. But the creator, to me, is very emotional, and I actually made someone watch it. I made my best friend watch it, and he texted me once the movie was over. He's like, that was a sad movie. You made me watch a sad movie. And I was like, I know, wasn't it great? I think the ending being what it is, I think the ending is artful. However, it is a semi-sad ending, but the performance is phenomenal. It's kind of a happy ending. I mean, if you choose to look at it that way. I really don't know what to tell you. Some people don't like it, some people do like it. I think it's one of those movies that you're either gonna get it or you don't. And if you do get it, you're either gonna like it or you're not. So it's a very complicated movie. There are levels to it. You're not just gonna immediately like it. I think you're gonna have to mull this one over for a while like I did. In number 7, we have The Holdovers at a 9.5. I liked this one. However, I wouldn't classify it as a Christmas movie. Mainly because, I mean, I feel like Christmas is in the background, but I think if you're like an artful person, like you love the cinema, this one will be on your Christmas movie list for sure. I'm debating whether putting this on my Christmas movie list just because of how much of a emotional ride this is, but it is just beautiful, and it does invoke that feeling of nostalgia because of how it is filmed, how it is color graded, and because of the performances. Each performance is solid. I am impressed, honestly. We have seen Paul Giamatti do this type of work before, and I've had people talk to me about this movie and ask, why is everyone praising Paul Giamatti about this one when this is basically what he does in any other movie? And honestly, I think it's because there's more heart in this performance than any of his other performances. I feel like he relates, perhaps, I don't know, to this character, but you can definitely see that there's a connection to this character, and from that character to Dominic Sessa's character. So I think all of that elevates his performance to where yeah, it's familiar, but it's different. It's better. In number 6, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. This movie blew me away. I made a review about this one, so you can go ahead and check that one out. However, I'm not sure if I praised it enough. I don't think I mentioned about the score. Maybe I did, but from the score, the fact that this movie was made and they cast actual children as the voiceable teenagers, as the voices of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Once again, who knew that was a thing that we needed? I certainly did not, but I mean, here we are. But like I said in that review, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, I feel, is going to be the definitive version of the TMNT moving forward for the new generations to come. I don't know. I know these are new versions thereof or very similar, but this is a definitive origin story for the new generation. We've got our origin stories, those who are like 25 plus, with the Dark Knight. Sorry, is it the Dark Knight Rises or the Dark Knight? I don't know. The first Batman movies, the Spider-Man movies. We have our origin stories with which we can relate. And this generation now has TMNT Mutant Mayhem has their definitive origin story that they can relate with. I don't know. I think it's beautiful. From the art to the message to the story. Perfect. And I cannot wait for Mutant Mayhem number 2. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be called Mutant Mayhem, but for, easy sake, Mutant Mayhem 2. I cannot wait. And now we come to our top 5, which are all 10 out of 10s. So I call these my top 10 favorite 5. In number 5, we have Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. And the only reason that this is not higher on the list is because it is a part 1 movie. They might have removed the part 1 from the marketing, but they will not remove the part 1 from our memories. Across the Spider-Verse is a fantastic movie. It perfectly sets up the finale, the third movie. It is definitely an Act 2 story, which are typically not the greatest ones, but in my opinion, I kind of liked Into the Spider-Verse better than this one. I know that's gonna get me shot in my sleep at night, but hey, I like what I like. I like a complete story. But the Spider-Verse trilogy has the potential to be one of the best superhero trilogies of all time, and it's completely animated, and it's phenomenal what they're able to do with animation in art. In number 4, we have, which is shocking for even me, Saltburn. I was completely surprised with this movie. I kind of steered away from anything and everything. I didn't really want to know what the movie was about at all. All I knew was that Barry Keoghan was in this movie, and I said, I'm gonna be there. So I really didn't know what to expect, and then everything happened, and at first I was like, what the crap is happening? And then the final twist at the very end, that blew me away. And then when I realized all of the puzzle pieces landed together so perfectly, I don't know, man. I just saw the movie in a new light, and the extremities that the characters go through and the actors go through. Oh my gosh. It's insanely messed up, but for some reason, I love it. I can't explain it. I can't explain it, but I love it nonetheless. But it is in my number 4. It was in my number 3 for a while, and then I looked at my list and I said, number 4 is fine, because my number 3, I think, deserves to be in the number 3, and that is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I've seen this movie 3 times in the movie theaters. I think that's pretty deserving of a top 3 at the very least. Oh my goodness, this movie perfectly rounds out the trilogy, and at first I was a little worried of what James Gunn would do with the Guardians of the Galaxy after Endgame, and he took something that seemed impossible and made it possible, and he made everybody cry. Sure, there's a couple things that I'm like, okay, hold on. One, I don't think that character would survive that, but that's perfectly okay, because you got me tearing up anyway. I think this movie ends the trilogy, the Guardians trilogy, very, very well. I mean, sure, you kind of have to watch Infinity Endgame to understand, kind of, but not really, because they recap everything that you need to know in Guardians Volume 3. They kind of do it over and over for jokes, but it's funny. I think this movie is both dark and funny. Oh my gosh, is it dark? Which is why a lot of people don't actually like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I mean, hey, keep your rose-tinted glasses on if you want, but I like it. And then at number 2, we have Barbie. I think this movie has a little bit of a pacing problem, but not so much to where it's an issue, because this movie is hilarious. And I know some people have issues with it, but if you have an issue with it, I think it's because you're kind of offended by it, because you are being parodied by it. And I feel like if you don't understand it, I don't want to be mean or rude or be like, oh, and then it's for you, but you really do gotta sit down and look at this movie and think about what it's trying to say and how it can apply to you. Because if you're just getting upset or annoyed by it, you need to see why you're getting annoyed by it, because if you are getting annoyed by it, maybe it's hitting a chord and it's trying to tell you something that you might need to change. That's all I'm saying. But this movie, in essence, is clever. It's hilarious. I love it so much. And I think Barbie it was my number 1 for the longest time until I saw this movie. This number 1. Oh my goodness, I cannot stop talking about this movie. In my number 1 spot, the best movie of 2023, in my opinion, Godzilla Minus One. I was completely shook. I mean, I love Godzilla. I love monster movies. I don't remember any of the first Godzilla movies, the American movies at least, because I saw them when I was young, and then I saw them in college, and that was a time. But I do love monster movies, especially monster disaster movies, and this movie, Godzilla Minus One, is a monster disaster movie for sure. It's incredible to me to think that they made this Godzilla movie 75 years later, and everyone collectively agrees that this is the best Godzilla movie that they ever made. And it's not just another edition, it is a remake of the original. And it's not just a remake of the original, it is a new perspective of the original. It is through the perspective of people, and the fact that Toho Studios did it way better than America ever could. Oh my gosh. After I left the theaters watching Godzilla Minus One, I saw the trailer for Godzilla X Kong, or whatever it's called, and I just laughed because it suddenly looked equivalent to Power Rangers for me. It was just so laughable, and I don't even know if I'm gonna go see it, to be honest, because Godzilla Minus One blew me away. It surprised me at the end, and because of that, it actually made me tear up. And I'm not gonna tell you why. You're gonna have to go watch this movie for yourself because it is phenomenal. It ended up being my favorite movie of the year, and I just absolutely love it. Oh my gosh, I can watch it over and over and over again. Oh, holy cow, it is so good. Best movie of the year, hands down. Well, that is it. Once again, this is just my opinions. I am a comedy forward guy. I'm so sorry. I do love dramas, but as you can see, not many of them made it on the list. I wasn't actually able to go see a lot of them. I started like movie binging like halfway through the year, and I thought, once again, I thought I was doing really well, but apparently 47 movies compared to evidently 140 to 300 apparently is not comparable, but I did well as I could. But just give you a little bit of hint, I was able to go see movies like Killers of the Flower Moon, Poor Things, American Fiction, mostly because they didn't really put those movies in the theater that I was around, so I never actually got around to seeing them because I had not the ability to, so oh well. Let me know your list in the comments below. My social media links are in the description below. Like if you liked the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you next time. You've just been Montified.